Well, it's Monday, August 19th, 2024, and this is the Climate One audio newsletter. I'm producer Austin Colon.
And I'm producer Megan Basilia.
Hey Megan, do you know what the FERC is going on with the electric grid?
I do not, but I'm assuming you're about to tell me.
The U.S. electric grid needs to be expanded and made more reliable for our future energy demands and climate forecasts. The way we built transmission in the past, regionally siloed with short-term planning, is now suffering from reliability and capacity issues. That's not going to work for the next century. The Department of Energy is drafting plans for national transmission corridors to help speed up new construction, and it's also handing out funds to build new lines and upgrade existing infrastructure to increase capacity. Meanwhile, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, recently passed a rule requiring utilities to work together and take a longer view on planning their transmission needs. But it will still take years to accomplish those changes. So can we build a robust national transmission system that serves our decarbonized future at the speed that we need? Well, find out by listening to our most recent episode on climateone.org or wherever you get your pods.
And if you're in the Bay Area and want to join us for a live recording of Climate One, then listen up, because we have 3 upcoming events with some very exciting guests. The first one is August 27th at 6 p.m. at the Commonwealth Club, featuring the billionaire investor and climate organizer, Tom Steyer. He'll be in conversation with Climate One host Greg Dalton, and they'll talk about politics, money, and power. That's Tuesday, August 27th. Then, on September 16th at 6 p.m., environmental icon Jane Goodall returns to Climate One to reflect back on her life's work. She'll also talk about how we can heal our relationship with nature by better understanding ourselves. She'll be joined by Greg and Rhett Butler, founder of the nonprofit media organization Manga Bay. That's at the Sidney Goldstein Theater on Monday, September 16th.
And that same week, on Wednesday, we'll be joined by Justin Pearson. You may know Justin as one of the legislators who was kicked out of the Tennessee House for protesting in support of common sense gun regulation. He's also a strong advocate for climate and environmental justice. The Sierra Club recognized him as the 2023 National Changemaker of the Year. He'll talk about all that and more with Greg at the Commonwealth Club. That's Wednesday, September 18th.
Tickets for all of our events can be purchased at climateone.org.
And here's what we're reading this week. The nation's largest offshore wind farm resumes construction, reigniting debate. The federal government granted Vineyard Wind and GE Vernova permission to resume construction of the nation's largest offshore wind farm. The project, which will generate enough electricity to power 400,000 homes, has been on hold for a month after a blade failed and broke off into the ocean due to a manufacturing defect. Opponents of offshore wind seized on the failure, leading to a wave of complaints from local residents. And much of the furor over the development of offshore wind farms is steeped in concerns about their potential to maim and kill endangered whales. And that's leading to the unusual scenario where clean energy proponents are pitted against people purportedly working to protect wildlife. However, multiple studies have shown that the narrative about offshore wind farms endangering whales is a myth, being pushed by fossil fuel groups and wealthy beachfront property owners. Ocean-based wind energy is a key tenet of President Biden's plan for a green energy transition. The federal government set a goal of 30 gigawatts of offshore energy by 2030, which would power 5 million homes. And wind power is the largest source of renewable energy in the nation. Despite fossil fuel-funded disinformation and baseless claims by former President Trump that wind turbines, quote, cause cancer, support for continued offshore wind development among coastal residents remains high. Government regulators, turbine developers, and beach towns will certainly be watching closely to see how the country's largest offshore wind project rebounds from its fluke failure.
Hopefully we'll see a win for wind. Here are the other headlines we're keeping an eye on. From Vox, how the most powerful environmental groups help greenwash Big Meat's climate impact. From Bloomberg, EVs and hybrids set to exceed 50% of vehicle sales in China for the first time. From Capitol in Maine, California carbon storage plan will require millions of miles of pipelines. From Canary Media, data centers want to tap existing nuclear power.
All right, and now let's connect the dots. The closing ceremonies of the 2024 Olympics featured a passing of the torch from Paris to Los Angeles, the host city for the next rendition of the Summer Games. And while the world waits to learn if Paris organizers made good on their pledge to cut emissions for their festivities to half those output in the 2012 Olympics, Los Angeles is upping the ante, promising that the 2028 Olympics will be car-free. A flurry of transit funding from federal, state, and local sources have been allocated to Los Angeles in recent years, and that's empowering the city to rapidly expand its train and bus infrastructure. But will those efforts be enough to help the notoriously gridlocked metropolis deliver an entirely transit-powered Olympics? And what other climate lessons could Los Angeles learn from Paris? Find out on Climate One's special episode examining the environmental impacts of the 2024 Olympics. You can find it under the title Going for Green at the Paris Olympics, wherever you listen to your pods.
One more thing. As a listener of this newsletter, you're already a valuable member of the Climate One community. In an effort to foster this network and promote healthy, level-headed climate conversations, we've launched a Climate One Discord server, and we want you to join. Discord is a chat-based social network where users discuss various topics, each with their own dedicated channel. Our server includes channels for bike trail recommendations, healthy doses of climate optimism, and weekly episode discussions. All that's missing is you. You can sign up on our website at climateone.org. And that's it for this week's Climate One audio newsletter.
Thanks for listening.